Hi, I'm Ian Goh. I'm a lecturer in classics at Swansea University. Today, I have a bowl of apples, and so I'm going to do another episode of The Food of Roman Verse. They say an apple a day keeps a doctor away. That's a saying first attested in 19th century Wales as eat an apple on going to bed. You'll keep the doctor from earning his bread. But did you know that it was the Romans who introduced apples to Britain? And that apples are erotic symbols in Latin poetry. Famous apples in myth include those which the speedy Atalanta was distracted by, rolled into her path by her successful suitor. Catullus, in the poem which starts his collection, where he wishes he was his girlfriend's pet sparrow, refers to that story by saying, being the sparrow with which she plays in her lap, would be as welcome as they say that apple was to the swift girl, an apple which loosened her girdle tied up for so long. This myth is also referred to by Propertius, another author of love poetry at Rome, in the programmatic poem which begins his first book, which we call the Monobiblos. Catullus also mentions an apple midway through his collection of poems, just after their metrical form has changed to the one which he will use for the rest of his 116 poems. We call that meter elegiac, and it's the one which is used by many love poets at Rome. In Catullus 65, Catullus compares the verses he had delayed translating, but is now sending to his friend Hortalus, to an apple sent as a secret gift from a betrothed lover. And this apple rolls out from a girl's lap, the same place as a sparrow was, when she goes to greet her mother and she'd forgotten about it. She then blushes guiltily. This in turn refers to one more apple myth. The verses Catullus was slow to send on account of his grief over his brother's death are translations of the poet and literary theorist Callimachus, who had been librarian at Alexandria. In his famous and influential work in ancient Greek, the Itia, a collection of explanations of the origins of things, Callimachus tells the story of Acontius and Cydippe. Acontius fell in love with Cydippe, and Eros, the god of love, advised him to write an oath on an apple. I swear to marry Acontius. When this was given to Cydippe, she read the message out loud, and so she unwittingly swore the oath. Later, Cydippe was engaged to other people, but fell gravely ill. An oracle that was consulted revealed why this kept happening, because she'd sworn that oath. And she and Acontius get together in the end. I've never worked out how Acontius managed to write on an apple, but Callimachus explicitly says he read about this story in a work of history about the island where Acontius was from. This history was written by an old man named Xenomedes. And Callimachus also says elsewhere that he sings nothing unattested. So yeah, it must be true. You'll probably know some of the many apple recipes, as they're so often a staple in baking. Here I'm making a Dutch apple cake, where the chopped apples are soaked in lemon juice, sugar, cinnamon, and a little corn flour. The batter, which is going to be folded around the fruit, is a bit too stiff and dark here because I ran out of caster sugar. I'm not a natural baker. Please excuse the not quite seasonal pyjama bottoms. I previously made an apple and rhubarb crumble with the autumn glut of fruit, but now winter's coming. Thank you for watching anyway.